Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our town council meeting this March 12th, 2024. If you would, roll call. Oh, I will say before we start the roll call, Melissa Pickett is out of this meeting today. She apologizes. And Pete Guarini has some unexpected issues arise, so he will be not available for this meeting. But just to put y'all at ease, that both individuals and families are good, so it's nothing drastic. That being said, yes, Kat Perry.
Here.
David Harwood.
Here.
And Doug Matheson. Here. Okay. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Thanks. Thank you. All righty.
Sorry, I
Approve.
can't make a phone call with your iPad.
Do we need a break, Doug? All right. Approval of minutes. Hillary, we received a notation where you changed. Okay.
I realized when I was scrolling down through, I put 7 o'clock for closed session starting, it actually started at,
Okay.
or 7:30, it actually started at.
Okay.
So I made that change.
Okay. Council, you saw those notations? Okay, good. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 13th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion, any changes? No. Nope. Okay. And how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the regular agenda?
Moved. Second.
Okay, Kat?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
And Doug? Aye. Okay, regular agenda is adopted. Consent agenda, that's the budget amendment 2024-12, 2023 tax advertisement request, and Mayview Madness Run. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, no discussion of consent agendas, so we'll go straight to vote. Kat?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
And Doug? Aye. Okay, consent agenda is approved. Wow. We're now at the public comments. Do we have anyone that would like to speak on any issues in town? Wow, okay. All right, so we'll move on to the regular agenda. This would be the street right-of-way maintenance strategy. Mr. Kevin Rothrock.
All right, thank you, Mayor. As we discussed at the end of the February council meeting, staff's developing a process for maintenance of town streets right-of-ways that have vegetative and other physical obstructions. Chapter 6 of the town code allows us to do that and requires that town streets be kept free of obstructions, and that once notified of a violation, property owners have 3 days to remove the obstruction. Well, we're going to give them more than 3 days. We've given them at least 15 years, so we'll work on giving them some time to do this. But a possible strategy to eliminate these safety concerns with limbs and shrubs and fences and trash enclosures and those type of things that are encroaching into sight distances or within the right-of-way of our streets. We would like to contact those property owners once we identify where those locations are. Contact the property owners or whoever is responsible for the obstruction, and provide them 45 days to clear that vegetation and 60 days to remove physical obstructions, whether it be a fence that we weren't aware about or a wall, those type of built obstructions. And certainly we'll work with them, but we need to identify where they are, notify the property owner, and give them some time to do that. And then if not corrected within those timeframes, we'd have town street maintenance department clear those obstructions. And then I've attached a section of the code and that references that, and it's to a distance of 12 feet high. And you know, we've got places around town, we all do, that are problem areas, and just a safety issue mainly. And we need to take an approach that eliminates that. And we'll certainly work with the property owners as best we can. And there's going to be some that would be upset with the process, but it's something that we really need to do to maintain safe streets. So if that's acceptable with council, we'll move to start with this process and identify those areas that need the most attention.
Council, do you think, and Mr. Rothrock, you know, you have in here violation property owners have 3 days to remove their obstruction, but you say, of course, we're going to give more time. Do you think we ought to specify an amount of time? Keep it open? Okay.
I think so.
All right. And leave that to the judgment of the Public Works and.
I think so.
Okay. You feel that, okay? Doug, you okay with that?
It will not be a hard rule. Not everyone would have the same amount of time depending on what they've got to clean up. So I think that we can work with the property owner and give them reasonable time to make it right. That's the numbers that I put out, 45 days and 60 days were our initial thought. So.
Just been long and coming, you know.
I had one question about the ordinance, because I didn't see it in here, but maybe it's somehow it is in here, is sight lines. You mentioned sight lines. And and I'll give, the best example I can give is Hinkle and Chestnut. You almost have to pull out into the street to see around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And does this 12 feet, does that accommodate a sight line at a corner like that? Or is
yes.
there another place in the code that addresses that?
I don't know if there's another part that addresses it. This is talking about the vertical distance from the road, keeping that clear for trucks and things like that. A DOT standard is like a 1070 rule, 10 feet from the point of the intersection, looking at a point 70 feet away, and then that creates a sight triangle.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that kind of a rule, but just judgment. You know, if you're in a car and looking up, can you see both directions clearly? Then that would be adequate. There's a lot of places that alone would clear up a lot of our issues. But the others are, especially in Mayview, we got places where 2 cars really can't pass.
Right.
Mirrors and fire trucks, and I think Kent said he had a video of that from probably 10 years ago of a fire truck going around an area and how much room it takes up.
I don't know if this falls into that category, but I do think we have some blind corners, some intersections that, in my opinion, are not safe.
Okay. We'll canvass the whole town, all 32 miles of streets. And you know, we know the ones that are problematic, but we'll find new ones too that we weren't aware of, because we want to be even across this.
Well, thank you.
And this is going to start immediately?
Maybe not tomorrow, but yes, soon, very soon,
Okay.
within the week.
All right.
You'll
How's it
give
been
this
going
to,
so far?
We haven't started.
You haven't started yet?
No, sir. I wanted to bring this to you before you get phone calls. So we didn't want to get out too early. You still may get phone calls, but we wanted you to know why. And hopefully, I'll receive the phone calls and we'll take care of it.
you all like to give this your vote of approval? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Doug?
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Kevin.
Thank you.
6:15. Okay, moving right along, official reports and comments. Oh, did you want to have a report on, someone do a report on Main Street Water Sewer?
Yeah, Jared's going
Would
to.
you like to go ahead and do that before we get into official reports?
Sure.
Okay.
Jared, you good?
And sticking with the theme of the meeting, I will be brief. Not a lot of update, I'm sure you've seen that, it work's ongoing. Contractor has their primary crew dropped back on the water portion that has been installed up to Jenny Stevens, and they're doing those main tie-ins, and there's a lot of tie-ins to do in that, 4,500 linear feet of water line. So they have been working on that while the 18-inch sewer work on the north end of the project has progressed. You've probably seen or at least heard a lot of hammering of rock has happened down there while they were, transitioning from the tie-in location over across Main to get into the existing utility trench. So they've reached that point now. Digging is still challenging because soil conditions are not great. We're about 200 feet in, so we're going to give the contractor credit for between 180 and 200 feet. I don't have today's totals, otherwise I'd give you an accurate number. That total section is about 600 feet, so you can say we're roughly a third done. Work's ongoing on both ends. My concern is that, several months ago, we anticipated doing most of the work here in the downtown core prior to weather turning. You can see we've been teased with some beautiful weather over the past few weeks. I want the contractor to expedite work in downtown to try to get out of, this main area before tourists and traffic, increase. So that's our push to the contractor. And we have a great contractor, don't get me wrong. But I do want them to expedite the tie-ins on the south end, get the work in downtown done, and then be able to focus on the northern end as we get into the late spring and summer months and winding down the contract out. But otherwise, project's going well.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Given that we are so limited in our pretty days, and North Main Street is closed Monday through Thursday, would the contractor be amenable to longer days?
I can certainly make that suggestion.
Would you let Kevin know? We are at the mercy of the weather, and time is of essence. Don't you think, council, it'd be something worth looking into?
Yes.
It doesn't cost.
And,
Free of charge.
Time and a half.
And that's part of it, is they don't not work Friday. They're still working Friday, so if they have to pay for overtime, they may not have calculated that in their contract price. So we'll work through
Let's
it.
look at it.
See what they can do.
We need to get it done.
I would definitely have that conversation with the contractor.
Yeah.
I do thank you and also them for doing as good a job as you could with trying to keep these potholes during this rainy weather. I know it's been hard trying to keep them, and they wash out about as quick with some of these hard rains, but they weren't near as bad this week.
They did a good job, yeah. It was bad 2 weekends ago, but this weekend with the rain on Wednesday, that hampered what they were trying to solidify and skim patch on Thursday. And so it was pumping, but I think by slowing people down, the way they organized it, I think was better. Not ideal, but certainly better. Contractors have been very responsive. Iron Mountain is fantastic. Great to have.
If you would, explain to the citizens that are here in attendance quickly the process, because I've had people call me and say, well, why haven't they paved over the gravel? Okay. Sure. Quickly explain the pressure testing and so on before pavement, and of course the gravel has to settle or whatever.
A lot of factors there influencing when they can make the permanent patch in utility cut. Of course, lines installed, gravel's placed back in there temporarily, that gravel has to be compacted. Lines really need to be tested and chlorinated prior to that final patch going in, otherwise you're just wasting money on asphalt. If you put the entire permanent cross-section of asphalt back in the ditch and then have to dig it back up. The cross-section is roughly 14 inches of asphalt. Now, of course, that's highly dependent on weather. You can't pave in cold weather, you can't pave in rainy weather. So there again, you're taking a work element that's challenging to begin with, and then adding complications of wintertime work or wintertime conditions to that. So permanent patching is one of those things that's accomplished as you can do it. So if you've driven over gravel for an extended period of time or a thin section of asphalt, that thin section of asphalt, the contractor has done really independently of any pay item. They've done it on their dime, just to solidify the utility cut to make it more bearable to drive across temporarily.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
No, do you want me to do my part now, all of it?
I'll go ahead and do mine, and
I'll come back when you're done.
you're at the end.
I'll be at the end.
That was before.
Sure.
Okay. Is that okay with you?
Good with me.
Okay. All right. Official reports and comments. First off, I'd say congratulations. We attended the ribbon cutting of the child care opening today. It's great. My hat's off to all the town employees. Gosh, Parks and Rec, council members that voted for this, Shane Fox and Kevin who drove it, and I think it's fabulous.
They got you mixed up with the kids for a little while.
You and me. They thought we were a couple of children. That's okay, Doug. We'll get over it. But I think that's really fabulous. We're one of the few communities in the state that do offer child care to our employees, which is fabulous. I think that says a lot for our community. I'd like to say thank you very much to our Public Works. They put in over 20 hours of time trying to find a sewer line that was plugged, that ran just near the Martin House. And these guys worked all day Saturday into Saturday evening, and then came back Monday morning, found it, got it resolved, at least temporarily. We've got some of the best town employees of any town I know of. And I'm biased, but I'm proud of them. So thank you. Now, on another lighter note, nothing of real urgency, but Shane Fox, are you here? Well, Shane Fox has taken on the position as Town of Blowing Rock's town manager. Those that haven't met Shane Fox, this is Shane Fox. He looks very, very similar to the last Shane Fox that was here. And Shane will be beginning his duties as of May 1st. This was a collaborative effort between council, myself, Kevin Rothrock, and others. And we feel like that we are very blessed to have Shane returning. We are also very blessed to have Kevin remaining with us. Kevin's done a great job as interim. He took on the responsibility. And that's a lot of responsibility, particularly when you have to deal with the council and me. You know, the public's good. They're easy. You know, we're bad. So, but I would like to say that thank you, Mr. Fox, for considering Blowing Rock. And thank you, Kevin, for your hard work. And I've always seen and said through the years that every move in an employment status is always a positive move. May not seem like it at the time, but it ends up being a positive move. And so, Mr. Fox, welcome on board as of May 1st. Is that correct?
That's right.
Is your wife here? She is. Oh, Jennifer. We need a family photo. Come on.
Drop the kids off, but.
Behind every successful spouse is a more intelligent spouse. So,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Congratulations.
thank you. Yes, you may.
Quickly. So it's not every day you get a second chance. So I'm grateful, first to the council, mayor and council for allowing me a chance to come back. Big thank you to Kevin, all the work that's been put in the last 10 months since I departed. But we've been here, we've lived here this entire time, and we're just grateful for the opportunity to be able to come back and be a part of such an amazing town, work with, like you said earlier, I think the very best staff you can work with. And there's a lot of good things in the works. There's a lot of good things on the horizon, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. So again, thank you for your confidence in me and allowing me to come back. And again, thank you to Kevin for great work the last
I give you a set
9
of
or 10
keys back.
months. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all.
Shane, welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. Moving right along. Now, one thing, council, we need to keep in mind with Shane Fox coming back, we need to notify Mr. Fox that our meetings will stay under 1 hour. That was just in joke.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, well, Charlie, you stole a lot of what I was gonna say, but
I'm sorry. I
No.
read your notes.
Anyway, yeah, big thank you to the Public Works Department for working so tirelessly and being able to solve the problem that had occurred. Also, the daycare center, as Shane has said, it is a game changer. I do think it will be in terms of retaining and hiring good employees. So those are two things I thought.
Thank you, Kat. Sorry,
That's okay.
okay. David.
Well, I echo what you guys have said about the academy. I also welcome back Shane. Really looking forward to working with you again. I really want to thank Kevin Rothrock. Kevin, you stepped up. You've put up with a lot. You have guided this town for the last 10 months or more. And I am personally indebted to you. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Kevin, do you get a dollar amount on that in debt?
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big. Doug?
Well, I'll echo all that's been said so far down through here. It's, Kevin, thank you. Thank you to Public Works, especially over the weekend, for a lot of the hard work that they did put in. And it was Saturday night, got rough. Luckily, they got out of here before the hard wind and everything got here. Brief update on my meeting last week in Raleigh. I was down, for risk management, and I'll just touch some of the highlights. Right now, they're still offering the accountant software to anybody that's interested. We're looking into, we've mentioned that and talked about it. They're also saying it's not looking like a lot of new income coming into the state this year. They've had a big bonus year the past couple of years, and they said not really to look for, there'll be some, but said not to look at a lot of new income coming in this year. Not a foreseeable solution, they're saying, on the housing, on the local level or state level. They're still looking for something to come out of the federal government on that. So they're not really looking at a whole lot coming out of the state part this year again on housing. I know it's a disappointment for some, but probably no movement this session on medical marijuana. So we're not seeing any movement, not seeing much movement on that. Interest rate, they're looking at probably June you might see the first 0.25% get cut. There's not gonna be anything drastically cut in the foreseeable future. Things are still a little high, so not gonna be a lot of quick movement on that end. Good time for bonds. They said, the rest of this year and probably next year would be the best time to look at applying if anybody's looking about doing bonds. After that, when the interest rates start, as Kevin knows, Mr. Fox knows, you'll start seeing the rates start going back the other way. So right now, still a good time if you're looking at bonds. Insurance wise, they're making a lot of different moves right now. One of the few things that second homeowners probably need to look at, they're looking about doing, if you own a second home and you're not staying at that home and you don't have your water cut off at the street, if you have a pipe burst, they're not gonna start paying for it. So, they're looking at ways that they're cutting some costs and stuff at. And they're looking about moving liability up anymore to it's gonna be everybody $1 million. You're gonna see $1 million out of your pocket before they're gonna start coming through anymore. It's insurance, as I've said before, took the biggest hit the last 2 years that they've ever taken between the hurricanes and the fires. And it's not starting off good this year with what you're seeing is going on in Texas. Luckily right now, most of that's in the panhandle, but it's not starting off good again. And as a whole, all these catastrophes, everybody ends up paying for it. So just a little highlight on what's going on there.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for attending in Raleigh. Thank you. Doug?
Well, since we've been so short today, I'll throw in a couple of things. As I mentioned, I got to go down to the School of Government for the Municipal Attorneys Conference, which was great. Being new to this seat, made a lot of good contacts, and there was a lot of good information shared. And otherwise, been working with Brian on a few easements for the Middle Fort Green, and that's pretty much all I've had going on this month.
Very good, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah. So you think we'll see that completion before we're all at Foley Center?
I don't try to guess the future.
Mr. Rotherham.
Tasha is in class this week at School of Government, so she'll be there through Friday. As everyone's mentioned, the work that Public Works did this past weekend was incredible. They spent a lot of time on locating an issue on a private line once we found out where it was and when it was put in. And we rely on people that's done it before. Doug probably had some input. Johnny Lentz, people that have that know where things are or have an idea, and it was big to help the issue that they had at Ball Guy Brew. But so our guys are fantastic. They really are. Signed the TDA wayfinding signage contracts today and got those back to the designer. You asked about the school zone light. I didn't get an update in the last couple of days, but we've got some issues with the battery, the rechargeable battery and the solar powered issue there. So we're taking a look at how we can get those back online. The Memorial Park bathroom, there's a punch list remaining on some small items, but some of those small items take some of the longest time. Our goal is to get it done by Friday, and I'm trying to hold the contractor to their feet to the fire this week. It's close, but not finished, and we're ready for them to be finished. Done a good job, but we're ready to finish. And that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Well, amazing. There used to be a day we sell tickets to these things. We are going to go into closed session, and then we will adjourn after closed session. There are no decisions that will be made during this closed session. It's strictly for informational purposes, updates on personnel and so on. So we will adjourn for 5 minutes, 10 minutes to allow all the public to clear, and then we will go into closed session. But thank you very much for attending. I know there wasn't much on the schedule, but it means a lot when we do have citizens show up and show interest. And thank you so much. And Mr. Fox, Ms. Fox, welcome home. If you want to read this.
Okay. Our closed session is going to be North Carolina General Statute